The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. What do they always tell you? Don't mix religion and politics. Second Baptist Church pastor Dr. Ed Young is making national headlines for his sermon over the weekend. He told his congregation his thoughts on fixing crime in the city of Houston. Listen.
Houston, in all probability, right now is the most dangerous city in America to live in. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if the most liberal city in America we think is San Francisco, and they had enough votes to recall an absolutely woke DA, what do we need to do?
Dr. Ed is a savage. Crime is concern for all of us in all communities here in Houston, but is the pulpit the right place to bring up politics? And should tax-exempt religious leaders be so quick to pick political sides? Let's get to our panelists tonight.
One, I did not hear a sermon, but I did read the reports on it, and it's very disappointing. We know that words are creative, and that doesn't seem to me to be the kind of creative situation that you want in the city that you live in, to say it is the most dangerous in the country or in the world. I'm deeply concerned about a person of this stature making that kind of statement. Moreover, it could be that permitless carry, the law that allows anyone in the state of Texas, which was signed by the governor last year and supported by a number of conservatives, could very well be the reason that we have so much more crime, because people can do anything they want to do with guns.
Dave, well, let's hear from you. Your thoughts on that.
Well, with all due respect, Dr. Olson, that's utter nonsense. There is no correlation to the current crime spree exploding over the last 4 years in Harris County and beyond to that law. None at all. Look, just the fact that we have 181 murders committed by those out on multiple felony bonds because of our current justice system points to a breakdown in our justice system locally here. There's a lot of reasons for this, look, and it's a complicated issue, but lawlessness in our justice system is a beginning point on this. And let's not miss one fundamental point here, that under no circumstances should the state or anybody else be telling a pastor what to preach in their pulpit. And I hope Dr. Olson would respond to that and agree with that. This is what God has called us to do. Doesn't mean people are going to like it. But
well, let's just say this. Let's just say this. This gentleman was the head of the Southern Baptist Convention. I attended a Southern Baptist school, so I get that. But that whole convention was birthed out of a support.
Oh, so now we're going to go off on rabbit trail.
So I'm just going to say that is not. I don't need. I can read now, and I can also do biblical interpretation. Well, and I don't see a place where the state is trying to do that. This was free speech.
Let's go one at a time, Dave. Let her finish, and we'll come back to you.
And we're just talking about it because I can say what I want to say, and you don't need to correct me. That's not your job. I'm free now. I can read, and I can also do biblical interpretation for myself and my people. And I'm so glad I can, because there's something in the Bible that tells me that I am also free and made in the image of God, as are my people and other people. And I don't need you to define that for me, or Mr. Young.
And really quick, let's get back to Dr. Young's speech. Do you think it's factually accurate? When you look at some of the most dangerous cities in America, you see cities like Detroit, you see cities like Kansas City. You don't see Houston in the top 10 or the top 3 around the country.
Well, let's look at the numbers he was presenting, first of all, and those are right out of the crime stats from Houston Police Department, Uniform Crime Statistics.
Dave, believe me, I believe what he's saying, but I'm saying the way he ranked them, that was inaccurate.
Let's look at this way. We don't have to agree with every word Dr. Young said. That's up to him to defend. But what we cannot ignore is the fact that people are unsafe in the city to drive on the roads, sit on their porches, be in their homes, go to gas stations. And this is tragic, and it's got to end. So why is it we shouldn't speak to it? And by the way, the fact that it is a justice system that is failing us. And this is not a partisan issue. It's a justice issue. And that has nothing to do with whether or not you can interpret the Bible, Dr. Allison or Dr. Young. Okay, this is a real-time tragic issue that is largely, predominantly impacting the minority communities. And it's time we stand up and take some action against it and not try to silence our pulpits.
Nobody's trying to
really quick, Dr. Olson, Dave, didn't Dr. Young make this a partisan issue?
Well, let's first of all say that he did not violate any boundaries at all.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you said let's not make this a partisan issue.
Right. So
but that's exactly what he did, made it a partisan issue by saying get rid of the liberals and the left-leaning individuals in elected offices.
Well, let's look at some facts here. Let's just talk facts. Okay. These statistics that he talked about, when you measure from 2018 forward, have skyrocketed. Now, we can blame COVID, we can blame lots of things, and there are lots of factors involved. But when you have a stack up in the court system by 10,000 cases, we have people being held in the processing center for 48 hours because the jails are overstacked because people aren't being transferred properly. When we have murderers, capital murders escaping from our prison system, which, by the way, is under the auspice of TDCJ, which is a state legislative and state government issue. There's a lot of blame going on to elected officials. We put these people in office: the county commissioner, the county commissioner's court, county judge, the mayor. Look, that's their job. And if they don't want to do it and make our system work right and keep people safe, then they should leave office.
Well, now, is that the fault of liberals? Now, I'm not trying to defend liberals or conservatives. I am neither. I have voted both ways. But we're just talking about what was said. And I agree with you that the system is broken. The system has always been broken for our people because of various reasons. I think you and I both know that. But this is the same pastor who said that Democrats were godless. And so you guys, I mean, I'm serious. You really don't have a chokehold on God and who God likes and what God endorses and all of that. I talk to God every day. I'm a daughter of God. And so, you just can't get up and declare that this is God's way on it. It's, a lot of people who have freedom in their relationship with God. I agree with you about the crime, but it's for a leader of this magnitude. Shouldn't we be coming together? Shouldn't we be saying, what can we all do to come together to deal with this problem from a granular issue, from our neighborhoods, as individuals, as families, as churches, yes, in politics as well. But it seems to me that ought to be the way that we ought to be approaching this.
Well, and this is why we have to have this discussion. But let's not ignore the fact that we have a progressive liberal county commissioner and mayor and others in office that have to own where we are right now. Look, and their policies have consequences. Their leadership has consequences. Now, they're not the sole factor in this, but let's just face it. It's these judges that are letting people out multiple times on bond that should be locked up. It's this continuous cycle of repetitive crime that we live in and other facts of chaos in our system and our government and our culture that ultimately point back to one thing, that there is a higher law. We respect that. All men are created equal. That's our starting point.
And women.
Just all men being a generic term, of course. All human beings are created equal before the justice system, before God. That's how we should be treated. And we all have to start there. But in this country, that starts with who we elect. That does matter. And that's what Dr. Young was pointing out.
Well, of course,
we want to thank you all for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. Fascinating and very interesting conversation. And Dave, always good to see you back on The Factor. Dr. Olson, thank you too.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.